Time now for our first video top 10 list on Sports Day Now. This lists the best coaching staff additions in the SEC. Are you ready? Number 10, Kevin Steele, the new defensive coordinator at LSU. You would have a hard time convincing me that the Tigers got the best end of the DC swap, as John Chavis has been so good for so long. But Steele is a veteran guy who has been a head coach, been all over the South as a defensive coach, even in the NFL, and kept this from being a debacle for LSU. Number 9, Brian Schottenheimer, the new offensive coordinator at Georgia. It's odd how Bulldog fans had a love-hate relationship with former coordinator Mike Bobo, but that didn't stop Colorado State from reaching out to the former Bulldog quarterback to become the Rams head coach. To replace him, Mark Richt looked to the NFL and to, oddly enough, the former Florida Gator in Shoddy. Number 8, John Hoke, now DC at South Carolina. Like Bobo at Georgia, Hoke had a love-hate relationship with Gator fans when he was the DC at Florida, but Steve Spurrier always liked him from their days together in Gainesville. Spurrier even relied on advice from one of his closest friends in the business, Oklahoma coach Bob Stoops, then wound up snatching Hoke and bringing him back to the college ranks. Number 7, Travaris Robinson, the new defensive backs coach at Auburn, makes the list for 2 reasons. First, he is a terrific recruiter and very prominent in South Florida. That is one of the main reasons the Tigers coveted him. But he also does a very good job with defensive backs, one of the main reasons the Florida secondary has been so good in recent years. Number 6, Dan Enos, who is now offensive coordinator at Arkansas. Face it, how many times does a Division I head coach leave his job to become a coordinator? It's usually the other way around. But Enos voluntarily left his post as Eastern Michigan head coach to run the Razorbacks offense for Brett Bielema. Enos is a former Michigan State quarterback and assistant coach, so he certainly understands the tough Midwestern brand of I-formation football Bielema wants. Number 5, Ed Orgeron, the defensive line coach who is back in the league at LSU. A former head coach in the SEC, an interim coach at USC, and frankly, one of the best recruiters in college football in the past 20 years. This one could pay big dividends on the Bayou. Number 4, Florida defensive coordinator Randy Shannon. The former Miami head coach was most recently the linebackers coach at Arkansas and probably will be Coach Jim McElwain's right-hand man. Beyond that, he will be a terror as the Gators' chief South Florida recruiter. Shannon spent most of his life in South Florida, and nobody knows the area better. Number 3, Texas A&M defensive coordinator John Chavis is one of the most well-known defensive coordinators in the SEC. First at Tennessee for years under Phil Fulmer, and most recently at LSU. Kevin Sumlin's ability to wrest him away from the Tigers represents a big coup. Number 2, Auburn defensive coordinator Will Muschamp. Now maybe Muschamp didn't make it as the Florida head coach, but I'm not sure the SEC has ever had a better defensive coordinator who also happens to be an unreal recruiter. His recruiting skills already have paid off, and at $1.7 million per season, Auburn expects him to be an even better defensive play caller. And the number 1 coaching acquisition of the offseason in the SEC, Florida coach Jim McElwain. The Gators are the only school bringing in a new head coach, but they found a good one. After helping Alabama to 2 national titles under Nick Saban, Mac went on to rebuild Colorado State into a Mountain West power in just 3 seasons. Now, Gator fans hope he can rebuild Florida's once proud program just as quickly. So that's it, our top 10 list of top coaching acquisitions in the SEC. Check back here for more video updates on Sports Day Now, covering the SEC, where the season never ends.